Hi everybody, today is day 21, which is project week, and basically the whole week we just work on our user design project or user interface project. And today I worked on the HTML and CSS part of the project. Basically you're given a design file and then you have to convert that into HTML and CSS. You have to write the semantics for the HTML and also style it and move around the elements so that they match the design file. And it's not necessarily pixel perfect, it's just close enough. And I actually got finished with the desktop version, and then I'm working on the mobile version right now. The last time I was working on the CSS for the mobile version, and it's not too complicated. You just have to know that you're using remember how to use less from earlier what we learned. And I'm gonna take it easy tonight, and then I'm gonna pick up tomorrow morning pretty early. So that was pretty much day 21 today, the project week. So today is day 22 of the project week, and I am still working on the same project. It's quite lengthy. It's not difficult, it's just takes a lot of time. So I was working on the JavaScript section today, especially the menu that has to be expanded to full modal, and then also worked on a tab menu where when you click on a tab it will load up another section, and there's 4 of those total. The JavaScript got me for a little bit because I haven't done full page modals in a while, but luckily we have the previous code for the tabs, so that wasn't too difficult. I finished those 2 things today, and then I have tomorrow and a little bit of Thursday to work on the other aspects, the extras. So pretty much I've finished with the MVP, which is the minimum viable product, and I'm just adding extra features now with maybe animations. And I really wasn't going to do any other pages per se because it's just a repeat of, HTML and making it responsive and doing CSS. I don't want to repeat myself. I mean, if for a real project, I would definitely do it, but I want to experiment with things that might become useful in the future. So maybe things like Greensock, or working with more with less, and understanding more of some of the not popular ideas with CSS, like, I don't know, like border box. I don't use that much. So that's it for today. Today ends day 23 of Lambda school, and it's still project week, and I was working on pretty much the extra stretch goals for my project. And I was working with Greensock. I was reading a lot of the documentation and watching their tutorial videos to accomplish some of the things on my list. So one of the stretch goals is to actually animate the menu in and out, and I was able to achieve that using some of the syntax that I learned from the website. I was struggling at first today, but then later I was able to figure it out and just trying different things basically. And then also today I got to work on the services tab, and I added a bunch of different animations to it as well. So it's turning out pretty well. My next goal is to add different animations as you scroll down the main page. So on the home page, if you get, say, like 40% of the way, images will appear and disappear as you're scrolling along. I don't quite know how it works yet, but I'm gonna go figure it out. And then tomorrow is actually our last day. We'll have some time during the morning and afternoon, but then we have presentations later in the evening, and I'll tell you guys more about it tomorrow. But that was basically today. I'm working on the extra features. I was done with the MVP yesterday already. It's going to be a short week. Friday we have off, so I'm looking forward to the weekend and just having some free time to start catching up on React or review React. So ends day 24. This is the end of project week, and we just did our presentations to our small groups, and then there was a cohort-wide presentation too if you wanted to do that. And I had a pretty great time with this project, even though it was very long and there were a lot of user stories to accomplish. I learned quite a bit amount of Greensock. I got to do some sequencing, which is basically making things pop in at certain amount of times. Like you can synchronize some things and not others, and have some things come in before others. And yeah, it's just a whole lot of fun. My thing is I love animation. I think that's like the next step up after you do HTML, CSS, and then you do maybe Flexbox or CSS Grid. And then to add like cool stuff, for me, it's like adding JavaScript and these animations basically. And I'm sure like there are other things, but for me, that's like a logical next step. So that's what I worked with this week, mainly with Greensock. And this project week wasn't too bad, to be honest. I've made websites before, and I know what I'm capable of. Even on this project where we had extra stretch challenges where we were able to make other pages or make them mobile, I opted not to do that because I'm confident that I could. So I spent more of my time reading documentation as well as trying different code examples so to make my animations work well. I think that the hardest part about this project is actually making the menu full page modal menu, because I don't usually do that. It's usually just like words and adding an anchor tag to link to another page, and that's about it. Even with Gatsby, it's about the same deal. But to have this overlay, this full page overlay, as well as text embedded on it and laid out on the overlay, playing with Z-index and everything, that was, it took me a little bit more time. And most of all, the JavaScript in this project was, it took the most time, let's say. And I did also use the less CSS preprocessor, so that was really cool. I really didn't use that before, and I'll definitely be starting to use it from now on. The only little annoying thing is you have to keep one of the terminals open for watching that specific file. Other than that, less is great. I can't imagine my life without it before, which I just wrote mainly global CSS, which is really bad practice from what I've heard. So that ends project week. What questions do you guys have for me? I know I'm going to be posting a couple of my screenshots or my code here so you guys can see what I did. My code is up on GitHub as well if you want to see that. I'll have a link in the description below. If not, you can always hit my portfolio page, timothyhuang.net, and that also links to my GitHub. So yeah, I've just been talking and sharing about my experiences, but if you have any specific questions, I am open to help you with them if I have the knowledge. If not, I can try to find out for you. It's been a great program so far. These past 5 weeks, I've learned a great amount, and I can see that how you can learn so fast because they don't give you like everything. They only give you like what's necessary, and everything else you can pretty much pick up on the fly, which is basically what programming is. So it's not shortcuts per se. It's more that, okay, you should know these are the main things. And then once you have this kind of framework that you're operating by, it's easier to tack on things because you know the original order, the original placement of everything, and you're like, oh, I can just add a little bit extra here, as opposed to when you have no framework at all and you're trying to figure out everything at once, which is not a really good use of time. And the last tip I have is when I was working on this project the whole week, I was trying to make a single line of code be as efficient as possible, or to do a lot of things at once. And it's difficult too because a lot of time we just write lines and lines and lines of code. But if I can use like Flexbox to align something and then just putting on like say padding or something on each of the items inside to make it more closer to center or something like that, that's what I'll do. I won't actually target each individual item. So it's efficiency. At the end of the day, you're a developer and you have to be efficient. And so I'm going to end the video here. And again, if you have anything, just feel free to reach out to me. I'm super excited to start React next week. There's a lot of videos and content for me to catch up on, and I'd like to get started on that this weekend, just to get a jump start and review most of the stuff that I knew before. I've been writing Gatsby most of the time, so it's time to head back into React and learn some Redux too. So thanks for watching, and I hope you guys have a great weekend, and see you next week.